Set on Poland's Baltic coast, Gdańsk is a city shaped by centuries of trade and life by the water, and is a long-standing meeting point of cultures and ideas. From lively market squares and narrow cobbled streets, to grand churches, waterfront promenades, and modern spaces across the river, the city feels vibrant and full of life, a steady rhythm that draws you in almost immediately. In this episode, we explore what makes Gdańsk so unique, moving through its streets, along its river, and discovering how history and modern life come together in one of Poland's most fascinating destinations. As we drove into the city, our first impression was of a lively, well-connected urban hub. Driving past the main train station, we noticed an extensive public transport network, making it clear that getting around Gdańsk is easy and convenient. We left our car at La Stadia parking just outside the city center, where prices were reasonable, starting from 4 zloty per hour. From here, it was only about a 10-minute walk into the old town. As we approached the old town, the sound of a street musician drifted towards us, drawing us in. It led us straight into the city's historic core, the Long Market, the main square and social heart of Gdańsk's old town. Almost immediately, one thing stood out. This was a place designed for people. The musician's melody echoed between the buildings as the view opened up into Long Lane, alive with footsteps, conversation, and a steady flow of life. This entire stretch formed the city's historic center, where merchants once traded and daily life unfolded. In the middle of it all is Neptune's fountain, a symbol of the city's maritime identity, with Artus Court rising behind it, once a gathering place for merchants and the city's elite. Right next to it, the main town hall dominates the square, and once played a central role in Gdańsk's political life. It was hard not to feel a sense of awe at first glance, and we couldn't wait to see what else the city had in store for us. From here, we made our way towards the Great Armoury. At a distance, it looks almost like a palace, with its ornate facade and intricate details. But this was once a place to store weapons, built in the early 17th century during a time when the city needed to protect its wealth and position along the Baltic. Designed in the Dutch Renaissance style, it reflects Gdańsk's strong trading ties with cities in the Netherlands, connections that also shaped its architecture. Today, it houses an art academy, turning a place once used for weapons into a space for creativity. Just a few steps away, we came across St. Mary's Church, which is open between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. At the heart of Gdańsk, it is the largest brick church in Europe. Built over several centuries, it reflects the city's wealth during its time as a major Hanseatic trading hub. Stepping inside St. Mary's Church, the scale of the space was almost overwhelming. Towering ceilings, vast open interiors, and a quiet, echoing atmosphere completely different from the lively streets outside. It's hard to grasp just how large it is, with space to hold up to 25,000 people, making it one of the biggest churches in the world. Light filtered in through the tall windows, adding to the sense of space and calm. The interior felt surprisingly minimalist for a church of its size, with the focus on space and structure rather than decoration. One of the most fascinating features inside is a towering astronomical clock from the 15th century, tracking not just time, but the movements of the sun and moon across the zodiac. Leaving the church behind, we wandered on, slipping into a narrow, cobbled alleyway lined with old brick walls. One of those quiet corners that gives you that unmistakable sense of stepping back in time. Before long, we found ourselves on Mariacka, where the character of the street immediately stood out. Narrow, yet full of life, it was buzzing with people, some pausing at cafes and restaurants, while others were browsing small stalls filled with handmade crafts and souvenirs, or simply taking in the atmosphere, just as we did. Known for its amber, often called Baltic gold, the street reflects a tradition that has shaped Gdańsk for centuries. Walking through these beautiful streets, it was difficult to wrap our heads around the fact that Gdańsk was almost completely destroyed in World War II, then painstakingly restored to the glory you see today. At the end of Mariacka, we walked through St. Mary's Gate, which opens out onto the banks of the Motława River. The waterfront was packed with people strolling along the river, with lots of cafes and restaurants filled with conversation and a steady rhythm along the promenade. The Motława River, a relatively small waterway, played a central role in the city's development. For centuries, it was the lifeblood of Gdańsk, carrying goods and merchants through its busy channels. Today, the river is full of activity, from traditional galleon-style cruise ships drifting along the river to motorboats offering a completely different perspective of the city. A central feature is the Holy Spirit Footbridge, which first opened in 2020. It rotates every 30 minutes, pivoting into place to form a crossing that links the old town with Granary Island, once used for storage and now transformed into a lively, modern waterfront area. On the island, the waterfront felt just as alive, lined with bars and restaurants, many offering beautiful views across the river to the old town. From here, one structure stood out along the water's edge, the old port crane. Dating back to the 15th century, it became a symbol of Gdańsk's golden age as a major European trading port. Heavily damaged in World War II and later rebuilt, it stands today as a reminder of the city's resilience. After taking in the view, we continued along the waterfront, but with so much to look at, it felt like a good time to take a break. Just a few steps further, we came across a lively food hall. which offered a wide range of international cuisine, where we opted for the cheeky chicken, a place that offered some delicious Korean street food. Chicken bao buns, a spicy soup, and mandu dumplings. Considering that Granary Island was only recently developed, it was amazing to see how rapidly this area has transformed and how many visitors it draws these days. After our break, we continued along the waterfront, following the river as it led us back towards the old town. This brought us to the Green Bridge, one of the main crossings over the Motława River.
Standing in the center of Gdańsk today, it's hard to believe that the city was completely obliterated during World War II. Afterwards, the old town was painstakingly rebuilt and is beautiful to walk through these days. The city packs an incredible energy and these days is one of our favorite cities in all of Poland.
From here, the bridge leads directly to the historic Green Gate, once a formal entrance to the city from the river. Designed in the Dutch Renaissance style to impress, it served as a ceremonial gateway, marking a striking arrival into Gdańsk by water. Today, it still marks the transition from the riverfront into the heart of the city, bringing us back to where our tour began, the Long Market. As our time in Gdańsk came to an end, what stayed with us most was just how much the city had been through. Unimaginable that the buildings around us have been brought back to life so beautifully after the near total destruction just a few decades ago. Walking through the streets felt like more than just sightseeing. It was witnessing the result of decades of care, resilience, and dedication. Seeing Gdańsk today, thriving once more, was a real privilege.